Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I know some of you don't use Twitter, so you may not have seen this, although it's been like everywhere lately. But I wanted to play this little meme clip for you, and this is something that Trump posted. I just think it's too funny. So let me play it, and then I'll come back and we'll discuss a little bit more about it.
I shake hands, I hug people, I grab men and women by the shoulders and say, you can do this. And whether they're women, men, young, old, it's the way I've always been. It's the way I've tried to show I care about them and I'm listening.
It still makes me laugh every time I see it. Anyway, I wanted to share that just in case you don't have Twitter and I don't know, you've been living under a rock or something, whatever the case is. Sometimes we miss things in the news because there's so much out there. But anyway, this one was just pretty funny. And Trump tweeted it and said, "Welcome back, Joe." Okay. And this meme was done by a guy named Carpe Donktum. Well, that's his Twitter handle. And so I want you to look a little bit here at this post because we have 81.4K followers as opposed to Maggie Haberman, who is from the New York Times, and she has 1.07 million followers. Okay, that's substantially different, right? So when you look at this post that Maggie made here, she tweeted, "But at a time when our politics is programmed by what's viral on Twitter, Carpe Donktum appears, stupefyingly as it might seem, to have something approaching power in MAGA land. It appears he senses it too." And this was an article, an opinion piece that was put out, the man behind Trump's Biden tweet, and it talks about him. Okay, so this was taken, I don't know when they took this screenshot, but at the time she only had 347 retweets on it. Well, before that, Carpe Donktum had seen what she had, and he responded, "How does someone with 1 million followers get only 107 retweets after 5 hours?" And so he had 1.5 thousand retweets on that. This was even later when he did this because he saw what he said 5 hours later, and he had 1.5K, she had 347. I mean, this is what we're being sold, a pack of lies, because they make it appear like they are the all-knowing authorities. They know everything and they're so powerful, in the press, the power of the press. And when it comes down to it, look at this. This guy is if you look here, it says a stay-at-home dad in Kansas. Okay? He's a stay-at-home dad in Kansas, and she had 347 retweets, and he ends up with 1.5K. I mean, this is kind of like Mark Dice, He's sitting at his table in his kitchen making these videos, and he's getting half as much views as CNN. So it's something that we need to remember, that we actually have more power than they want us to know that we have. And something like this, I mean, when Trump tweeted it, it was just like something else. We all laughed. We laughed hard. But I want to remind you, in case you don't know who Maggie Haberman is. Well, Maggie is kind of known, especially she's on this list right here. And this is a list of the media personalities who conspired with the DNC during the 2016 election cycle. And look, yep, there's Maggie's name right there. New York Times, Maggie Haberman. New York Times has several. And a lot of them have several. I mean, when you look through this list, how do we know that these people conspired with the DNC during the 2016 election cycle? Because it comes from the WikiLeaks. If you go through the DNC emails that were put out by WikiLeaks, you find out that all of these people were mentioned, and usually mentioned as putting out information that the DNC wanted them to publish. So it was kind of like DNC-controlled media. I mean, they were working hand in hand. It's not like they had a friendly relationship. This is more than that. This is like these people are an arm of the DNC, of the Democrat National Committee. They are part of it. And you look at these names, I'm sure you've seen a lot of these names, especially in the news lately. They're the people that are still trying to push that narrative, Gotta keep that Russian narrative alive. Well, I don't know if you are familiar with one of my videos. It's called Pelosi and the Wrap-Up Smear Tactic. And I published it several months ago. I had like 86,000 views on it. But I had a lot of people complaining that I was not giving it full credit because this is Nancy Pelosi talking about a tactic called the wrap-up smear. And I was kind of criticized a lot because they said I wasn't being fair about it because she was actually talking about the Republicans. Yes, she was talking about the Republicans, but there's one key factor in here that makes it obvious that it's not the Republicans that are doing this wrap-up smear. It's not us. And that is that it requires the press. You create something that you know is not true, truthification. You take fiction and try to sell it as truth, and then you have to leak it to the press. That's an important part. You leak it to the press publishes it. Then you turn around and you point at the press and say, look, it was covered in the news. It has to be real. And that's exactly what they did with the dossier. They created it. It was fabricated. They leaked it to the press printed about it, and then the Democrats turn around and point at the press and say, look, it's in the press, it must be true. And that's what the wrap-up smear is. Now, she was talking about the Republicans here, but we all know about psychological projection, right? And that's what she was doing. She was accusing Republicans of doing exactly what they do. And this whole thing with having the press be complicit with them, that's a very big part of it. And this is one of the things that has to be changed before the real truth can come out adequately. And little by little, they have been eroding away at it, because when you see this list right here, this is incredible, because there are 100 people on this list that are working against the United States as a country and putting the interests of the DNC ahead of all the people in the United States. So it's not free press, it is controlled press, and it's controlled by the DNC. That's the issue. And because they have such a stranglehold on the news that people see, because these are the main outlets, this is what people view. And if you're like me and you don't have cable, you're stuck to like NBC and CBS. That's what you have. Unless you're looking somewhere online, you may have only the over-the-air type channels that you have to rely on. And if that's where you get your news, when you look in your newspaper, you have the AP, and you can see you've got 3 of them over here from the AP. They were part of it. And, they are named. It's not like we're guessing at this. It's not like we're putting together some conspiracy or something. This is what the DNC emails from WikiLeaks show, that these people were part of it. And until we can break this hold that they have over the American people, this is what the last 2 years have really been doing. They've been trying to break the hold of the fake news. Okay? Now remember, not all press is part of this. But these people in particular, we know for a fact, did conspire with the DNC during the 2016 election cycle. And they have promoted the Democrat agenda over anything else. So they have been part of it, and they are like an arm of the DNC. They're just working outside of the official channels. So they have been doing all this work for the DNC, but it's behind the scenes, or it's without any official recognition. So we know for sure these people are guilty of conspiring with the DNC against Donald Trump. We know that. That is not even in question now, because you can go to the WikiLeaks and you can see for yourself where these people are mentioned and how they were going to help promote certain agendas. So that is a fact. And when you see something like Maggie Haberman then, and when she's complaining about something Trump does, which she does often, you understand that this is somebody from the opposition. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. If you're going to be a free press, the free press has to be free to report on both sides of issues. But that's not what our press does. Our press is one-sided. At least 100 of them are. And I don't know about the rest, but those 100, we know for sure, because they're all listed in the WikiLeaks. We, the American people, found out. And that's why we have to look at what these people say and remember that they are part of the opposition. They're trying to undermine what Donald Trump is doing. And you'll notice that the person that took this screenshot, it says following. A lot of people are following these types of people so they can keep track of what they're doing. And Maggie posts a lot of things for the DNC. She puts it out there under, well, this is news. No, it's not, hun. You're not being free press. You're controlled press. That's exactly what you are. You're a puppet for the DNC. So that's what I've got for you on this one. I just thought you would enjoy seeing this if you haven't seen it. And even if you have, it's worth watching again, right? So that's what I've got for you. I will put links down below, but I don't link to the board here. I won't link to this, but I will put the screenshots maybe in on Patreon. So you can go there and you can see some of those things. So that's what I've got for you right now. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.